Now, here's something new that we learned about the details of a traffic stop involving Brian Koberger on August 21st, 2022. This happened about 2 miles from the King Road house the night before classes started at the University of Idaho. Prosecutors want the jury to see that traffic stop to show Koberger in his car, but the defense disagrees.
In this video, things that make it more prejudicial than probative are that it provides presence in Moscow. It is at night. It is a visual of the car that is not just the make and model. It is Mr. Koberger's statement that he doesn't think seat belts provide much in the way of safety. Mr. Koberger's question about why they need his phone number. Mr. Koberger's question about how the officer reacts when people lie to him about wearing a seatbelt. If the court allows this evidence in, the state has the ability to use this to make many other points beyond identity. And the jury would have the ability to potentially seek to ask to rewatch the video and draw other conclusions that we are worried about, such as I mentioned, him being at night, not wanting to, it being at night, him not wanting to give his phone number, which could be construed as he wants to hide his identity.
Now, we knew about this traffic stop and requested the video. It's the only one involving Koberger that's never been released. Prosecutors simply won't give it up to the public. Bill Thompson argued the jury should see this video.
Just because the defendant doesn't like the fact that we can prove who he is, that we can prove what car he's driving, that we can prove what his phone number is, that we can prove his address. I mean, those are all things that tie together to connect the defendant to the homicides. Just because they don't like that isn't a basis to object to it.
Now, Judge Hippler said certain aspects of the video are concerning, like Koberger asking police why they need his phone number. So stay tuned for a ruling on that video. Koberger's lawyers also argued their motion to keep the surviving roommate, DM, from using the words bushy eyebrows to describe a man she...
So that's a whole other thing. Let's stay with the car. So that would seem to me, the whole vehicle in August. So he stopped in August. That puts him in the Hyundai Elantra. His behavior as far as not wanting to give up his cell phone number. Could the judge throw that out and saying that's too prejudicial? But again, why would the car, seeing it in that vicinity in Moscow at nighttime, why would that not be fair game as far as evidence? And of course, none of us have yet to see the video because the prosecution will not give it up yet. But they want to show that to the jury. Should this be thrown out? Should the judge suppress this evidence? Why? Why? Is it too prejudicial to the jury? Well, the defense obviously doesn't want it shown because they see it as, again, a piece of circumstantial evidence that ties things together, you know. And then as the vehicle is a huge thing because there's other evidentiary materials that put this vehicle on the morning of the murders in this vicinity. You see these colors and the timestamps caught on cameras, 3:30 a.m., 3:35 a.m., and you could see the car driving around, going into a parking space, 4:07 a.m., you know. All of these timestamps are very powerful because we also know that Koberger turned his cell phone off. Can we view that as what a guilty person does because he turned off his cell phone? Can we view that as that? Or will the jury be told, don't construe anything in regards to Mr. Koberger turning off his cell phone as any admission or anything to do with consciousness of guilt? That's what I was looking for. Where's Mike Geary when I need him? Can the jury view that as consciousness of guilt? The fact that he turned off his cell phone. And then when the murders were completed, if you believe that Brian Koberger committed the murders, at some point he turned his cell phone back on. Why was it turned on? Was it strategic? Or was it just, again, circumstantial, means absolutely nothing? Or do we believe the circumstantial evidence from which inferences are drawn? The other thing about we'll get off the car for a second, the bushy eyebrows, they want that thrown out. But isn't that part of this investigation also? The fact that Mr. Koberger posed for a selfie after the murders were done, the morning of, he posed for a selfie. And in that selfie, you could see he has bushy eyebrows, doesn't he? And that's how Dylan Mortensen described them. So these are some of the things that the judge must ponder.
He saw walking through the King Road house, which is how this selfie of Brian Koberger came to light. He took it 6 hours after the homicides occurred. Prosecutors say it shows his eyebrows that morning. Koberger's lawyers say DM's account is unreliable for many reasons.
She described herself as, quote, probably very drunk. And given the amount of alcohol she told law enforcement about consuming the entire day, that makes sense. She started with champagne mimosas in the morning, then White Claws 9 to 10 throughout the day. Then that night before she got home, she was involved in a drinking game and drank Borg, which is hard alcohol and flavoring. Her degree of attention, given this, supports factor 3, the accuracy of the description. Her description is that she saw a person wearing all black, not insanely tall. She doesn't know if she saw lips and nose. She is certain he is white. She never mentions eyebrows herself initially. The person who asked about eyebrows was law enforcement.
Now, Koberger's lawyer said that DM told detectives that she saw Xana Kernodle at some point and thought she was simply passed out from drinking too much. Prosecutor Ashley Jennings responded that DM is a reliable witness.
The male DM saw that night. I was covered head to toe. The only thing that was uncovered was a portion of his face. That does not lend itself to positively identifying any particular person. Therefore, an identification procedure was not used, and that Manson-Biggers test is inapplicable. Instead, on 4 separate occasions before Brian Koberger was even identified or arrested, DM gave consistent descriptions of the male she saw in the residence that night at around 4 a.m. Every time she described this person as being white, male, wearing all black, a few inches taller than her, she's 5'10", wearing a mask, skinny, athletic, toned build, and not a voice that she recognized. During 3 of those interviews, she then describes the male's eyebrows, and she describes them as being bushy. Obviously, there was some focus on the eyes or the eyebrows by investigators because this is the only portion that she could see. She never wavers in her description of the person that she saw. She's very clear about what she does remember and what she doesn't remember. Defense put the state of Mr. Koberger's eyebrows into question. In an attempt to discredit DM's testimony or description, they wrote, Mr. Koberger does not have bushy eyebrows.
Judge Hippler did not rule on that motion.
So, very interesting because, they sort of want to destroy the credibility of Dylan Mortensen, but one of the things that her description fits is this picture right here. Brian Koberger on the morning, about 10:30 in the morning on the morning of the murders. He very clearly has bushy eyebrows. So that doesn't disqualify Dylan Mortensen at all as a witness because sure enough, she was drunk. Admittingly, she was drunk. However, doesn't this fit her description is in regards to having bushy eyebrows? I think it does. I'm just trying to explain some of the evidence and what the evidence potentially could mean. And you can believe the evidence or not. You can, in your own opinion, disqualify the evidence or not. But don't ever forget, and as I repeat ad nauseum on this channel, circumstantial evidence can be very powerful. And it simply means from which inferences are drawn. And when there is lots of circumstantial evidence, the power of it cannot be denied. So those are the things that we are presenting to you on Police Off the Cuff. Have a great afternoon, everyone. I'm Bill Cannon from Police Off the Cuff Real Crime Stories. Have a great day. We'll see you next time. God bless.
One episode just ain't enough. Get a little laughter.